going down his throat. And I'm like, to this kid going, are you fucking... Bear in mind, I'm dressed as a woman with like red lipstick and wig on. And like an old dress of Judy that I've had to cut myself and like sew.
Yeah.
So that I can sew. And I'm like this. Clean that fucking... And all the lads are spewing. There's this woman on the boat. She's crying. I'm like, are you fucking mad? Anyway, and he's tried to flick... And I said, no... Don't flick it off, you dickhead. Clean it. So I've had to get like the jiff, the cloth.
Oh,
I've had to tell the cat, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what he was going to do. So anyway, this guy's on his hands and knees scrubbing his old poo off while lads have spewed. Like one of them's got so spewed, fallen overboard. Mate, the strippers walking around, like still walking around with it. It's like, not now, love. Get back.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Paul Mort Talks Shit. And today... You can already tell we're in for a treat here. Today I'm talking shit with somebody that could possibly talk more shit than me, is Mr. James Haskell. Mate, how are you doing?
I'm very well. Very excited to see you.
Mate, me too. We had a great bit of banter last time, and you're going to get to talk more this time.
I'm excited. I was loving the tie-dye T-shirt, sort of style, tan.
Mate.
Looking fire.
I'm from
looking
South
younger.
Shields, you know.
I know, mate. Any time out of South Shields, you're instantly looking better. Like, if you go there, it's like... Imagine it's like Mordor. You go there, you start like aging, and then you come out and you're like, oh my god, actually, there's electricity, there's cars. Isn't life exciting?
You're bang on point. So listen, mate, the first thing I want to talk about is I like to do, before I do a podcast like you, I do a little bit of research, except I do my own.
Dangerous. Yeah.
I did my own, and I typed in James Haskell, and I couldn't find anything that wasn't controversial.
Yes.
So my favourite one that I found that I wanted to talk about. My favourite one, fuck it, let's go straight in.
Yes.
Mate, I hadn't had Middleton on, and the first thing I asked them was what happened with Channel 4, so I'm not fucking around here.
He's a bit more controversial than I am. Like, I'm in a different way. Like, you know, he's sort of a bit more punchy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Everyone's scuffed. COVID, will I be hugging people? Yes. Yeah. It's like, no. It's a global pandemic, and just wind that back in a bit.
So here's the one that I've got.
Yeah.
I'm a Celeb star, James Haskell, attends debauched, I don't even know what that means, boat party with sex acts and fishies.
Yes.
Talk me through that.
Mate, if that's the best you can find, that was like a quiet Tuesday night. I think my wife was there. No, so basically, it's actually in my autobiography, What a Flanker, great plug for it. Is what happened is, we went on a team social, right? So obviously back in the day, all the team socials, you used to go and take over a venue, a pub, all the boys get fancy dress and everything else. But the world has changed. Everyone's got camera phones now. Yeah. So the social committee, who I was not involved with, decided to plan this team social and go on a stag do boat on the River Thames. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I was captain of the club at the time.
I thought you were going to say I was captain of the ship.
Captain of the ship, mate. I was a bit like that. Was it the bloke who captain? I'm not sure who the bloke who did the Titanic was, but very similar sort of resumes.
A pugwash.
Yeah, or the guy who crashed in the Suez Canal the other day, or the Con Costa Cordia, or whatever the fuck it was called when they tipped it over. Basically, so we went on this boat, and what happened was all the lads were met up in Richmond. We were all in fancy dress. I was dressed as a woman, which I always do when I get fancy dressed. I don't know. I was actually wearing one of Judy's dresses that I nicked out of the cupboard.
Hang on a second. He's got that face where he's like, I can't believe I just said that.
I can't. I said it in the fucking book. It doesn't matter.
So he's got Max. You know who Judy is? Judy's Chloe's mum.
Yeah.
Who's Richard and Judy.
Yeah.
So he's got Judy's dress on, which is incredible.
Yeah, obviously, I had to edit, cut it up to make it fit, but it was like an old one. And so basically, I was dressed like that, had a wig on, had done my own makeup. Yeah. So I sort of looked a bit like RuPaul on a bad day.
I'm getting stiffy. Is that weird?
Yeah, no, yeah. So were a lot of people. And then basically, what was we went on this boat trip, and it was a stag do boat, purpose built to go on the boat and on the river. And so basically, they were late, which was a bad sign because the captain got the tide table wrong, and I was like, your one job as a captain is get the tides right. Yeah. But anyway, all the lads spent extra time in Richmond. I knew things were getting out of hand when we were on a busy towpath and all the boys were picking up people's dogs and like pretending they were theirs, going, hello Max, and people were like, put my fucking dog down, and I'm trying to trying to stop these academy guys doing this, people doing this, just everyone was singing like raucous songs. Yes. People were trying to have a quiet Saturday. Yes. So the boat turns up.
So they're doing all the stuff that the boat was for.
Yes.
But they were doing it on land.
Yes, right. So then the boat turned up late, about an hour and a half late. got everyone on the board. The captain was like, I'm so sorry. Have a free cocktail thing. So we ended up drinking his cocktail. And then there was a pay bar. The boys had invited a stripper on the boat, and I didn't know this, right? Because I was like, this is not a great idea. 30 lads, and they're supposed to have 3 strippers on this boat. Yeah. And luckily 2 of them didn't turn up. But the one who turned up, I think she should have been in an old people home. Because I honestly thought she'd wandered in and got lost. I was about to take her home. Because I was going to go, listen, love, I think the dialer bus is coming. And
I think
like,
Mark might have had a massage off her last night.
Yeah, maybe.
He went for a massage at 8 o'clock last night.
Oh, yeah. That's normal, really normal around here. Yeah. Did it say massage on the door as well as acupuncture health? Yes. Yeah, I imagine it did. Yeah. And was the massage any good, or did they quickly go, you want extra? You're like, what? Yeah. Not that I know about any of that. Just I've heard about a friend of a friend. So anyway, we're on the boat. And we're going along, and as soon as we get onto the boat, the stripper then takes her clothes off, and she's wearing lingerie. And I'm like, I just said to lads, listen, as we're going through these locks, all these families, I was like, listen, this is a terrible idea. Get out the fucking way. I said, stripper, please get back into the boat. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're walking around with your boobs out on the boat. Yeah. Obviously, the lads are drinking, and then we had to do a court session. Where the fines committee decided who had been late, who had been unruly. And as the captain, I was the judge. So we sat down, we had a prosecution, we had everyone's sitting around this thing. And this kid comes up to me, he's like pulling my shirt. And I said, listen, mate, I'm doing this thing, just relax. And to my right was the on-board boat's DJ, who was like a 55-year-old guy, like wedding DJ. Yeah. Jam jar glasses. He's like, it literally looked like he was like looking at these through them, right? Real thick, and he was like Shabba, the louder you scream, the faster the boat. Shabba, and he's doing all that, and he was sitting there, and boys were trying to put their beers down, and he's like, not on my decks. Yeah. So I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with this. I'm all over the place, and then this kid's like, I want to do my thing. I was going to tell you about the party trick. And I said, listen, okay, just do it. And I said, right, lads, I was on the mic. Shock. I was like, right. I said, listen, this kid, I'm not going to mention his name, wants to do this, wants to do his trick, right? And I didn't know what the trick was. Before I could know it, he's pulled his trousers down, taken a bottle of beer, shoved it up his arse, done a handstand, emptied the beer bottle into his arse, and then gone, I'm going to do a beer fountain, but has flipped back to his feet to fire out this beer, but obviously hasn't pre-planned for any of this, doesn't understand human biology, and has just fired a projectile of beer and the contents of his bowels on part off the boat and onto the side of the boat, right? To say that people were like shocked. I was there with a mic, like going, don't, what the shit. Lads are like spewing over the side of the boat. This fucking DJ who's just like gone into shock, and it's a one solitary tear going down his throat. And I'm like to this kid going, are you fucking... Bear in mind I'm dressed as a woman with like red lipstick and wig on. and like an old dress of Judy that I've had to cut myself and like sew. Yeah. So that I can sew. And I'm like this. Clean that fucking... And all the lads are spewing. There's this woman on the boat. She's crying. I'm like, are you fucking mad? Anyway. And he's tried to flick... And I said, no... Don't flick it off, you dickhead. Clean it. So I've had to get like a jiff, the cloth. Oh no! I've had to tell the cat, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what he was going to do. So anyway, this guy's on his hands and knees scrubbing his old poo off while lads have spewed. Like one of them's got so spewed, fallen overboard. Mate, the stripper's walking around, like still walking around with it. It's like, not now, love. Get back. Have a milky tea and have a nap, mate. It was utter. So anyway, what happened with that is that was all that happened. But essentially.
So you've had the worst night of your life, and then it's on the front page of the.
Oh no! It gets even worse than that. It gets even worse than that. So then what happened was, then eventually the boat pulls up. I was steaming. I decided to go home. I was like, me dressed as a woman, even more drunk than usual, was not a good idea. So I basically headed home. Called up the next day, and I was like, right, lads, what's happened with this boat? What did the boat people say? And they said, well, actually, they're fine, but they said they need to get the boat chemically cleaned. Can we pay for it? I said, listen, pay for it. And they go, I said, if we leave a good review, everything will be fine. So I said, listen, take the money out of fines, get it cleaned, and someone's throwing the stripper's top off the boat. She wants it back. I said, fucking pay for a top, pay for a thing, and just get on with it. Thought nothing more about it. And then my dad got a letter, because basically when I got on the boat, because it was a party boat, I basically got to my old man to write in sort of legalese to the boat that there was no CCTV, because the reason we went on the boat was we didn't want media cameras, everything else. I said, listen, I wasn't intending a kid to shit on the boat. It was nothing to do with me. Yeah. turn the cameras off. So he'd written to the boat people. The boat people wrote back to him and were like, we are, basically, never in all our years have we seen such debauch action. We want to have compensation. And they employed this mad bloke who pretended to be John Terry's agent on his website. And he's just a complete Walter Mitty, like a fantasist. Yeah. Which I can't believe there's so many of them around. Yeah. And he basically claimed, and guess how much money they asked for in compensation for that boat trip? Bear in mind, I've told you all that happened.
Yeah.
Have a guess.
And you paid to get it cleaned.
And I paid to get it cleaned. And we left the review and we'd already paid.
10 grand?
Mate, 8 million quid. This is what.
Was it a little ball guy with a fucking finger in his mouth?
Yeah, it was. Right. I'm not even joking. I've got the actual written evidence. And what happened was the guy's like, if you don't meet us, we're going to tell your coaches what happened, and we're going to go to the media. And we were like trying to stall them, trying to find out what's going on. Basically, they then told the team anyway, told all the coaches. I then had to go away on tour with England. While I was in tour in England, this mad lawyer bloke, who wasn't a lawyer, who was just an insane bloke, was like writing to my dad going, and to the England coaches and to anyone who would listen, how dare you allow James Haskell to go to Australia and play the best rugby of his career and then go to Ibiza with his pop star girlfriend? Chloe was fucking livid because she's not a pop star, has never sung. And this guy was going mad. And then eventually they wrote to WAS demanding this 8 million quid. Mm-hmm. WAS then got all these lawyers in, and the lawyers were having interviews with the players, and it was like, right, so they got the evidence from the crew, and basically the crew evidence, all of them were different. And what they said were, the big guy, James Haskell, right, amazing, Haskell, the ringleader was the one in the dress, right, and basically their varying accounts were, I ordered 10 bottles of beer, and apparently I told people to insert them up their arse. That was the first thing.
Wow.
That we were having a gay orgy, that we'd left our wives, we were all having sex with each other. That was the next one. Genuine. There was one of the guys that had wearing a pig mask, and he was like, the guy in the pig mask was a particular deviant, and they basically said everyone was doing everything, and none of them things matched up. And they said never in all their lives they've been traumatised. I said, it's a fucking stag do boat. It said, if you're going to design a boat for partying, this is what it is. And they said all the years they've never seen anything. They're going to have to get counselling. The women, seeing a person shit, it's traumatised her for life. And obviously this went on. And then, but the lawyers were then going to the WAS lads in interviews. So, did James... did he make you do that? Oh, it's okay to say if he did. It's a safe space. They went into all that, did he touch you? If so, where? And all that shit. And I wasn't there. And then basically what happened is then the club got back and they just fired me as captain. They said they didn't, but they fired me as captain. Yeah. The guy, because obviously he didn't get 8 million quid, sold his story to Daily Express. Yeah. And the only one who got fucking mentioned in a photo was me. The only one, and I lost a deal with Land Rover. Land Rover were gonna, they stayed with me, but we were gonna do something more substantial. They're like, we can't have this. But I didn't do anything. I was just there at the boat. Yeah. So anyway, the club basically blamed me because they said I should have done more. I was like, I couldn't get across the room fast enough to get the bottle of beer out of his arse. Mm-hmm. What was it? I don't know why he thought that. And so anyway, that's basically what happened, and it was carnage. So that was just one of the things I've had to put up with, and I was named in it.
Well, I was thinking that I've actually wrote it down word. You're not be able to read it, although I've seen your writing. So
yeah, it's terrible.
You're on the same. Yeah. It's great though because no one can ever steal ideas.
No,
ever.
I'm not sure there are any ideas in my book. Yeah.
So I've got this down, and I'm like, it said I'm a celeb star. So did this come out after you?
No. So what happened was it was already out. So when you go and do reality TV, what they do is the media drag up everything that has ever happened before. So this happened, I don't know, probably 8 years ago, 6 years ago now. Yeah. Or maybe 5 years, 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then what happens when you go out to I'm A Celeb, they dig everything up. So I had a fortunate incident when I was at school with...
I saw that one as well.
Mate of mine, mate and I made...
Yeah.
I was just saying, a mate of mine made a porno, but it wasn't like that. I lent my mate a camera, and unfortunately, it's a even longer story. But we got sold out. Someone sold it to the papers, and I was on the front page of the Daily Mirror with like Haskell in porn dorm shame or something like that. So anyway, that's all explained in the book, and that was utter carnage. And what they did, they dug that up again. Yeah. They basically said. It was the first time that Richard and Judy had seen it. They were shocked, fleeing Australia because of it. Then the boat thing came up. Then some financial stuff came up. Then, mate, they just dig it up and hammer you.
Were you prepared for that?
Yeah, well, I was in the fucking jungle, so it didn't happen. Didn't affect me,
shit.
And I don't care. So obviously it's hard. Like it's even worse these days because of the mob mentality and the cancel culture.
Yes.
So if something like that happened now. they literally go out your way. Like every sponsor would drop you, everything would attack you. The people who had to deal with it was Chloe and my family. And I said to them, listen, you do know all of this is going to come back up.
Yeah.
And they say they're fine, but it's just when people are getting knocked on the door, again, going, oh, what's this? Have you got a comment? Have you got a comment? As if it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
And because people are lazy, they never look at the details.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing.
It's carnage.
Love that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this cancel culture and this.
Yes.
Because you're on it. You're on that right now, right?
Yes.
It's a hot topic for you. Because obviously I said when I did that research, all that controversial shit came up, and then you've obviously been having some fun. You had some fun over the weekend with people. Like, where you at with this?
It's an interesting one for me because I know better, and I've got to. If you engage with people, you're always going to lose. If you have a position of any kind of, so if I want to work in public eye, want to work in television, want to work with brands, want to earn money, I'm not afforded the luxury to respond in any way negative. My personal thing is from a team background and stuff. Fucking stupid people don't know they're stupid. That's the thing. People don't know they're idiots. Like the guys on, if you look at the Daily Mail online and the comment section of that and all the stuff that they write.
Yeah, I've
about
just started
everybody.
YouTube as well.
Yeah, right. So
I just started YouTube.
Right, yeah. So all the shit that people write, they think in their sphere of influence and the optics they see the world through, that they are on right.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
And what they do is they get like-minded people around them, and it fuels them in a tumble dryer of hate.
Makes them even feel right.
It does.
Yes.
And the thing with it is that most people aren't afforded the luxury of being part of a team and actually being part of something bigger than themselves. So when mob mentalities happen, you see it with sort of throughout history, big groups, people who go out and kick fuck out of someone, 15 people, and then when you get them on their own, go, why did you stamp on that guy's head? And they're like, I don't know. It's because for that time you feel part of something which you haven't felt part of, right or wrong. And this is what happens online. And I have got to stop responding because I get so angry with people. I get so angry with the stupidity of it, the fact that online there's no context. So your life experience is very different than my life experience. When I interviewed for What a Flanker podcast, we share like-minded ideas over kind of some of the mental health stuff and approaches, but we come from two different backgrounds. As does everybody else. But online, you're trying to make that meet. You're trying to fit round pegs in square holes and square pegs in fucking triangle holes. Going, you've had a broken upbringing, you don't have any financial resources, you've had this, versus someone who's had this, versus COVID for me. It's been bad, but not that bad. For some people, they fucking lost everything, lost their lives. And we're trying to make everyone agree. And then what I normally do is I try to respond with something witty or something funny or something, that's going to get a laugh. And the problem is that you just can't do that.
Then
and
you've got the people that laugh.
Yeah, you've got
like me.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I know.
But then you've got people that think it's not funny.
Mate, I've lost sponsors. Look, every time I've done it, I've lost a sponsor over it. I lost a sponsor over this weekend with this thing.
Yeah.
Because people aren't interested in the truth of it. The fact of the matter is, I got attacked single-handedly by I'd say 30 to 40 individuals. Bizarrely, most of them women. All saying that they're sort of animal lovers and all this kind of stuff. And every single one of them, without work, when you're a see you next Tuesday. Yeah. You're a dick. You've got a tiny dick.
You can say cunt on here if you want, mate.
I can. Fine.
Smith's been on.
Oh shit, yeah. And they say all that. They say that a lot. And basically, I shouldn't have replied. And the problem is, what I did is I gave them oxygen. I made them. Do I need to twizzle your knob for you?
It, mate. Yeah, twist me knob.
Is it gonna?
Fuck it. Thank you, mate. I just needed a strong man. There we go.
There we are. Is that right?
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dad.
You're welcome. Mate, these guns aren't for fucking show. So basically, I got caught up in that mentality, and I've done it too many times. And the thing is, the environment of the world now is you can't do it, and you may have a valid argument. I think if you call someone online a cunt or and you reply with that, you lose your argument. I think you can dismantle people without being aggressive if you so choose.
Yes.
And I think as soon as you go to their level, like some woman writing to me, you've got little dick energy, and I was like, you've got average burr banter. It just makes me. I've come to their level.
Yes.
Well, I should have just blocked them and ignored them.
Yeah.
And even when people are saying we're going to shoot you, shoot your dog, lads offering me out for a fight every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All this kind of stuff. It's my ego can't get past it. And but what I ultimately wake up thinking next day is I've just gone fuck myself because these people. They say what they want, and because they say what they want, there's no consequences for them because unless they've got a boss who's looking at their social media, unless there's somebody who's actually taking, and that's what they've got to think
unless
of.
They've got sponsors.
Unless they've got sponsors, which they don't. So the woman can call me, woman said, you got a tiny dick. You know, I don't know what that's got to do with it. I have got a
she's
tiny.
been talking to
I was
Chloe.
about to say. I was like, I looked at her. I was like, she's definitely one of my ex-partners. All two of them.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my problem. So what I've got to do now is step away from it because I get very angry with social media.
Man. It's hard, isn't it?
It's very hard.
Part of me is the same. I'm like, do you know what? Everyone tells you to ignore it and that, but they're not the ones that are getting it.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Oh, well, ignore this. Like the sponsors would be some of your maybe some management that you've got to be. Oh, just ignore it. But they're not the ones getting it.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
And some of it's personal as fuck.
Mate, I mean, listen, genuinely, people were saying that I should be shot. And bear in mind that the story was that happened on this particular occasion was I had gone into on a public footpath in with my dog, no animals anywhere near. And someone told me to put them on the lead when I didn't have to because it was public football. Nothing. Basically, nothing happened. Yeah. I just told a funny story about an old curmudgeon who had come out of nowhere and told me off.
Yes.
And I made a joke of it. But what people heard was because it was a topic about animals. They went, "Animals are fucking dying." You're like, "What?" Yeah. And they're like, "People die all the year. People's livelihoods. Your dog's not in control. You need to do this." And sending me pictures of death of dead animals. It's not funny. I was like, hold a minute. Nothing happened. I joked. I said, but nothing happened. And it was like, I don't understand. My dog didn't chase any animals. Yeah. I didn't go anywhere near any animals. Yeah. And all this happened. And then what you do is you should just ignore it. Yeah. But as soon as I engaged, I gave him a hook. And what you do is...
Did it like consume your whole weekend as
well?
my
God, yeah. But problem is on the Sunday, I was sitting in a beer garden. So I was getting pissed and doing it.
Oh, Jesus!
And that's the worst thing. My wife was telling me not to do it, and I just was fixated by it. And the anger, because what happened was they were getting more and more aggressive, and people were getting more and more outraged that I'd replied to these women.
Yes.
And people go, we can't say that to women. I was like, she literally messaged me and said, "I am a fucking dick." Yeah. And if I responded, and I didn't, and I responded really cleverly, like I was like, she goes, "You're the biggest dick I've ever seen." I was like, "Oh, you're not the first woman who said that," or said. Some version of it, and then I ultimately woke up next day and lost. And do you know what? I don't think we've heard the end of it.
Do you think you're going to lose every time?
Every single time. You in a public eye, you cannot win. And unless you want to talk about it and dismantle them in a calm, logical way, you have to block them and suck it up. Yeah, and honestly. I'm never going to do it again. I was trying to channel a bit of a James Blunt style thing where because he's very funny.
Yes, he is.
And I tried to do it, but even then, I maybe didn't have the intelligence, or I still probably went a bit too cutting. Because I didn't go. There was something a week before though. That's the problem. Is that some bloke was like mogging me off for my body transformation thing, and I got into him. Yeah, and he was like, "You're an influencer," and I was like, "I'm not a fucking influencer."
Something to do with lighting or something.
Yeah, lighting. And I was like, "I lost 9 kgs, you silly prick," but good thing I've got over it. And so basically so I've got you. This is my thing for anyone. Unless
you made him famous.
Yeah, well, I did. Yeah, I did. And I got in. I said working out a PT working out of his shed that his wife bought him. Anyway,
driving his mum's Renault Clio.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I got hammered, and I made myself look like an idiot. Yeah. I made myself look like an idiot this weekend. I lost purely on the fact that I won on humour. Yeah. I lost because I got fucked, and I lost money. I lost face, and now what people are trying to do is they're trying to tie me attacking women. Misogyny, and everyone just hides behind their gender.
You'll get hammered with the toxic masculinity.
Oh my God,
next.
yeah. And this is fucking and there's nothing wrong with being a man. Men do lots of bad things, women do lots of bad things. Yeah. Just being a masculine man, fine. But I on this occasion, it's got nothing to do with fucking gender. Nothing to do with it. I should not have replied. Yeah. And I shouldn't have put myself in it. And at the end of the day, I'm the only one that's got hurt. And I'm never going to do it. I
feel like I've got a world exclusive here.
Yeah. Which what I'll do.
Because I love that this is a big thing for you, because what I love about you, James, is when you are also very self-depreciating. Yeah. Like, I know when I've been a knob. You know when you've been a knob. And I love that. Yeah. Because a lot of people wouldn't admit that.
No, I mean, look, and I
think that's from rugby.
Yeah, yes, because you have to be accountable. In a team, when someone's putting up a mistake on the board and going, "You missed the tackle," no, I didn't. Yeah. You're like, well, I dropped the ball. Well, if your pass is shit, you just look like a dickhead. Yeah. So you have to be a good person to be in that team. And my Chloe was brilliant. She, unfortunately, I fucked her out of it as well, affecting her because we did some stuff as partnerships. Yes. She was collateral, and she's lost clients because of my speech on social media at times, and basically I'm going to still be myself. I'm still going to have an opinion. I'm just never going to respond. And because even sometimes people go, I posted about Prince Philip saying that what a man, what a modern man. People are like, well, you know, I can't believe you've posted that. I'm not following you. And I was like, this isn't a fucking airport, you prick. You can just leave. Like, you'd have to tell me you're leaving.
Yeah.
And again, people are like, oh, you're aggressive.
Yeah, by the way,
aggressive.
there's a GIF that says that now.
Oh, really?
There's a plane taking off and it says, this is not an airport, you don't need to announce your departure.
Yeah.
And as I said, you can actually, if you know when GIFs come up, you can type it in.
Oh, really?
You type in, this is not an airport, and it comes up as great.
But what it is for me is that I have to, if I didn't want to work in the public eye, if I didn't want to work with sponsors, and I didn't want to work on TV, I could carry on. I can't. You can't say the C-bomb to anyone, or you know, online, because it's just still a bad
the funny
word.
thing is, mate, what these people do is they'll attack you. You give them some back, and then they're the victim.
Yeah. Yes, of course. But also, you're trying to reason with irrational people.
Yes.
You're trying to make them see. And for example, the Chinese whispers was, you kill. You know, it was, you should put a dog on the lead. It was like, well, I didn't need to. Well, animals die. And then it was next. It was like, think about this. Dog shit blinds people. And it was like, and it's like cows can abort births. And it's like, and the thing is, weird thing was, it was nothing to do with farmers. It was. Where I went wrong is I bracketed it as that. I said, farmers amazing. I love farm. I do loads of stuff with them. It was just people under the guise of that, and I fucked it because I should have just taken the abuse.
Yeah.
And what I should have done is I should have taken the abuse, the death threats, everything. I should have just blocked it because it didn't matter, and I was only replying for my own self gratification. But what I did was, by the end of it, 17 people removed. He's a woman hater, he's a woman abuser, nothing related. You're like, and then it goes round, and then 4 places removed from that, it's farmers have been killing themselves. You're responsible. I'm like, oh my god, how have I? And then, you know, so what I did is, it wasn't the farming community; it was a section of people under the guise of farmers. I love the farming community, and I fucked up, and I you know, every day's a school day, but. You only get 2 or 3 of these, if that, in the social media before you're fucking cancelled.
So what's interesting is, there was some DMs that nobody would have even, like, you could have hit them up in the DMs. Yeah. Was it the sharing of it that fucked you, do you think?
Yes, it was. Yeah. It was.
Because you could have just sent that DM and just left it.
But also because I wanted to make people laugh. Yes. I wanted to do the James Blunt thing. I wanted to not, because in the past, when people have directly threatened me, the aggressive side comes out when you're like, fuck off, you know, you prick, whatever. Yeah. That's not clever about that. Yeah. That's stupid. To like,
that's meeting fire with fire, isn't it?
You know, someone to say, you know, you've got a tiny dick, mate, and me go, I've got a tiny dick, but I've got a massive wallet. Yeah. You know, just like trying to mug them. I said, I can't say that. You're like, you know, even if you did have more money than me, you fucking win. I goes like, well, I know you've got more money than me because you've had more work done to yourself in the M1. Yeah. But you know, I enjoyed the thought process of trying to outsmart them or trying to be, but I just came across as a fucking idiot, and. And I've just shot myself in the foot, and that's the worst thing. It's basically, I might as well have sat at home, uppercutted myself, and thrown a load of money into a bin, because that's what I did. And you just can't do it. And I hope I can rewind out of it. And naturally, I had to have a recheck and a rethink, and I thought, who do I want to be like? And I looked at The Rock, and I was like, Rock don't do that shit. Rock must get fucking hit. I mean, The Rock's the most perfect man ever and doesn't offend anyone. Yeah. But in this world, just looking like The Rock, you get offended. Just maybe him helping too many people pisses people off.
Too positive.
You're too fucking positive.
Works too many hours.
Yeah. He pushes too many products. Yeah. So there will always be somebody that says something like that, and I just got to be more like him.
Is that a hard thing about being in the public eye? Like, you've kind of got to think about what you say a little bit more.
Mate, listen, there is no excuses, and in the world at the moment, there is isms for everything. Everything has an ism.
Or a shame, or some kind of shame.
Yeah, there's a shame or ism on it, and if you go the wrong side of an ism, you will never work again. You will and when I say to you, these people are out to get you, like, it is the mob. So, for example, it killed Caroline Flack. She killed herself because she thought there was no way out. And when the media narrative changed to, people on social media, the media, the written paper and the print paper absolved themselves from that by blaming members of the public. Yeah. Members of the public are a lot of the time, they're not bright enough to know what to think. And it's when they read something, they see it. And the average IQ in the UK is 100. That's 100. That's the average, right? Imagine how many millions of people are under 100. Yeah. Yet they are on social media and they are dictating policy, dictating people's thought processes, fucking people up left, right, and centre. And someone like me coming in, and you're never gonna win, because why would a company want to look into details of me when he's got 4 or 5 irate people going, he's a sexist, sheep-killing murderer, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They just
I typed in your name, and I was saying I went to do a little bit of research. All the controversial shit came up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like,
not the great shit.
No. But but it's the only reason, if you look back at the controversy, all that stuff is me replying to people. So I had a thing with the guy who attacked me for lighting and said I was an influencer mugging people off. I should have just ignored it. It was nobody. The farmers thing. I should just ignored it. It was a funny story. I should have just kept it. Yeah. The boat thing. Luckily for me, the success I've had through rugby put me up as a profile. I was the only person worth hammering.
Yeah.
If you put one of my other teammates on, with all due respect to them, no one. It wasn't a fucking print story.
Yeah.
I was married to Rich and Judy's daughter.
Yeah.
Involved with a boat with fucking some bloke sticking a bottle up his arse. That's your story.
Yeah.
I don't have any value. If someone else attacked these farmers, if another member of the public wrote, said, "Oh, I didn't put my dog on the lead," no one's a shit.
Yeah.
With me, the National Sheep Association has released a statement saying that people need to take more care with dogs on leads. And I was like, I was nowhere near fucking sheep. And that's what I mean. People are changing policy. It's a bit like, do you remember Ricky Gervais in Extras, where he says about the kid, the kid, and he says, tells that kid to shut up, and the kid's sadly got Down syndrome, and he has to, when he's playing that actor, he has to give him an Xbox, and it's like Ricky Gervais pushes old person down, and it's like, but I didn't fucking do it.
Yeah.
Mate, that's how bad it's got. It's like, I've killed animals, abused women, and I honestly, I was in a field surrounded by 7 miles of empty field on my own, and an old bloke walking a dog, and I told the story myself, and people have sent me pictures of death, animals' death, saying that I'm responsible, and I was laughing about it, and they said, someone said, I'll shoot your dog, and I said genuinely, if I was in a field, a farmer just popped up and shot my dog. So I tied a farmer to a 4x4 and I battered them. Like, it's a joke. I had one of them funny filters on, like Squidward filters on, just like laughing. And everyone's like, "You're killing." I was like, "No, I didn't." So anyway, this is it. Yeah. And I listen. I fucked up. I'm gonna not do it again. I'm never gonna reply ever again.
Dude, speaking about the dog, do you know when you're in the public eye, when your dog runs away, and then the next thing you know, you've got the dog.
But that was my wife stitching me up.
Oh, was it?
So yeah. So again,
did she take the photos?
No. Fuck. There's even worse than that. Well, no, it's not as bad as that. That's very contrived. Like, I know a lot of people do these kind of paid for fake pap shoots. But again, the Muppets don't appreciate that. It's not like I don't get on the phone to the media going, "Fucking hell, do you want to come and photograph me?" Yeah. They were sitting outside my in-laws' place, as they always do, trying to catch the thing of Richard or whatever. Right?
That's mad, isn't it?
The door was left open to the garden. I didn't know. Bertie, little prick, ran over a main road, fucking run over, right? And everyone's like, "You haven't got your dog under control." I didn't see him. He's just a fucking dog. Like, he's 10 months old dog. So anyway, he ran off. Chloe went out to get him. As soon as she walked down the steps, she spotted a photographer and was like, "Oh, I'm got no makeup on. I'm not getting fucking
fuck.
So then called me.
Yeah.
And I was halfway eating a fucking, burger. And I was like, "What?" And she goes, "Go and get the dog." I was like, "Where is he?" She's like, "He's run across the road." I was like, "Sorry, why are you even back here?" And she was like, "Well, because there's a photographer." I was like, "Yeah, I think it's probably forget the photographer and just get the dog." So we're having a row. I've then run across the field.
Yeah.
He's like a mile away. He's like in a distance, like as a dot. I've called him. He's looked at me, and he's fucking run off to get to another dog. And I'm like trying to stay cool because there's like people walking around you going. I'm like, Bertie. And I was like, "You fucking prick." Right, so I've started running. I haven't run in 2 years because my backside. Run, and as I'm running, he's run off and disappeared around the corner. And I'm like, they're dog napping all the time. I don't know if you've seen the news. Like, they shot, I mean, not ours, but they shot somebody's dog person the other day. There's a big spate of dog nappings all around the country, all around the world. America, UK.
Really?
Yeah, they're driving around in vans, they're nicking dogs, and they're especially nicking fox red Labradors. Right? And they turn up at a park, they go for a walk, it wanders off, they bang in a van, they fuck off. They actually shot someone, I think it was in America and LA. Dog nappers tried to nick, like, I think it was Lady Gaga's dogs or whatever, and they shot the fucking guy looking after them just to get the dogs. Because the price has gone through the roof during lockdown. So I thought when he ran off around the corner, I was like, "Fuck, he's going to get nicked now." So anyway, people are like laughing at me. I'm running, and my wife's taking the collar off the dog because she wants him to be comfortable. I was like, "He's a fucking dog. He doesn't get comfortable or uncomfortable, right?" So I can't grab him because his photographer's like, "All right, James, having a bit of a problem with your dog." I'm like, yeah, mate, yeah, because you don't want to go, fuck off, you prick. So you're like, yeah, mate, and he's like, oh, if I've got 5 dogs at home, you're like, I don't care. Why are you talking to me?
How about you grab it?
Yes, so I have to smile. I have to smile. So I then get the dog, but as I go to get him, I'm going to grab him by the scruff of the neck. Yeah. As soon as I do that, you're like, oh my God, he's abusing dogs. So I had to coax the little prick, and he wouldn't come. So I had to pick up a stick, get him to get the stick, and then as soon as he got near me, I was like, right, picking him up. And the bloke's like, do you mind if I take a few photos? Like, we've already been taking him, mate. Just get on with it. So I'm holding Bertie, and as I'm like trying not to, but I'm saying to him, listen, you ever run off again? Like, stop fucking doing that, right? And as I've got there, he's tried to leap out of my hands. He started licking my face, climbed over me, and I managed to catch him by the end of it before he hits the ground. The guy's photographed everything. I've then got him, put him in the garden. And as I'm walking back out, Chloe goes, can you hold my bag and go into the house? So I put Chloe's handbag on. I've got a handbag, got the dog. And they tied all of it together. And the first story was James goes out for a leisurely walk with his dog. So I was like, leisurely fucking walk. I said, I was minding my own business. This little prick ran away. And they then ran the story. And then the son, because obviously the guy had a whole raft of photographs, he'd sold the first bit, and they call it doing a bit of a puff piece. It's like, James enjoys funny walk. It's like when I came out of the jungle and they said, James and Chloe in sex marathon. I hadn't eaten properly for 18 days. There was no sex marathon. There wasn't even a sprint. There was, I'm going to eat, and I don't want to talk to anyone. Yeah. But what they do is they write a piece that you could sue them on, but you can't prove that it didn't happen. Yeah. And it's pumping up your tyres so you don't complain, as they do it all the time. Yeah. And people are like, well, the papers must print the truth. Like, no. They just bullshit, and they know that you can't fucking sue them, so there's no point. And also, makes sex marathon, people are like, all right, lad. Right, but then the problem is, like you say, you Google it, for the next 6 months, every time you do a story, they'll go, James Haskell, known for his sex marathon. It'll be James Haskell falling out and insulting farmers. It'll be like, that's what they'll do. Yeah. And so then the Sun bought the next set of photos with me turning him upside down, me swearing at him, and then ran another story the other day. And then I put it on, and people are like, mate, we know it was a fucking setup. I was like, oh yeah. That's
mad, isn't it?
Yeah, I was for all 100 quid they were going to give me to fucking set up a photo. I was like, if I'd been hit by a car or attacked someone, that would have been worth the money, but not fucking a dog story.
Do you know what's crazy? It's like someone would have loved that. Oh, look, James is so cute with his dog, and someone would have been like, he's abusing his dog. Yeah, that's the way the world is, isn't it?
That's the way the world is. And do you know what? I promise you, they would, if I grabbed him by the scruff of the neck. What the papers would have done is they would have gone to the RSPCA or Battersea Dogs Home, found their PR and gone, what do you think of this? And the PR gone, well, we don't condone abuse of dogs. So then they validate the article by getting an expert to come and do it. They do it all the time. Like I made a stupid comment on something, and they got like a mental health expert to claim that I'd done something. I posted a thing about. I do a lot of stuff for LGBTQ plus stuff and everything else, and I post a funny thing about a guy in a helicopter. And it's a famous meme. The guy is in water, a helicopter. You see him waving, and the guy's like, "Sir, can I help you?" And the guy with the speech bubble goes, "Did you just assume my gender?" And the guy flies off. Right, and this was in 2018, and I was like, "This is what's happening in the world." And it was like a joke thing. It wasn't about gender or anything. It was just an observation. Yeah. People fucking, I was getting called up by my charities going, giving it the wrong angle. I was like, but I'm not assaulting people. I said, I didn't do anything. And what they do is, lucky that wouldn't go to press, but that's what they do. And they validate this stuff. And then suddenly people go, oh, he must be an arsehole. Yeah. I am an arsehole, but not in the way that people are making out,
Yeah. Mate, it must be quite a challenging balance between being, how do I stay away from all of this fucking chaos, controversy, but also not be boring and sell out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it'd be easy for you to be uber professional, right?
Yeah.
Actually, it probably wouldn't be easy for you to be uber professional, but that's what a lot of people would expect.
I'm professional in terms of I will deliver stuff, but the ship has already sailed with me working on Blue Peter or CBeebies. Like that ship
reading stories on Blue Peter.
I will never be. I'm not never be as talented as them, but I would never be. And today, they are mainstream. I could never do that. I've already fucked that by, and I don't want to be, because if you portray yourself as something you're not, you're going to get caught. And what will happen is
the Gary Lineker bit.
Someone will film you. Yeah. Shouting at someone in a thing, and they'll go, "Oh my god!" Tiger Woods on a grander scale. That the fall from grace is way worse. I can be myself, but what you cannot do is simple. Say the C-bomb. at people and reply and respond to people.
Yeah.
Everything else you can do the same. So I can do the bits we talk about on mental health, my opinion pieces. I can say all of it. I just cannot engage. You can be, and you can still have an opinion. I can do podcasts. I can be outspoken, which I'll always be, and I'll have an opinion. I'll have a voice.
Yeah.
But don't respond because you get fucked.
Yeah. Mate, what is I've got so many questions. Honestly, I've got so many questions now. Was retiring from rugby and sailing off into the sunset and keeping a low profile ever on your agenda?
No, because unfortunately I didn't earn enough money to ever be able to do that in rugby. If I'd been a football player, potentially, but I couldn't do that. I'm a huge show off, an attention seeker, not in one of those bad.
But see, that's what I love, that you'll admit that.
Yeah.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
I love being the centre of attention.
But I'm a performer. I'm a storyteller and a performer, and everything I do, the DJing, the speaking, the podcasting, the books, is storytelling in some form, and it's about putting it out there. And all that stuff I love, and by loving that, I'm very lucky to do it. But that's what I was always going to go and do. I couldn't sit in an office. I couldn't work normal time.
You like to feel significant.
I like to feel significant, but I also think you've only got one body and one mind. And I think we talked about this on my pod, that you should always be utilising it and bettering yourself without the pressure of, I've got to do it. But you've only got one of them. Yeah. And if you don't look after your body, when it's gone, you're fucked. Yeah. And if you don't develop your mind, you're just wasting yourself. Yeah. And I'm 36. I'm 36 in April, or whenever this goes out. And I've got more potentially life to live than I've had. And I'm not a sit around. You can't trade on what I used to do. You're not done. I'm not done by any stretch of the imagination. So I want to keep chalking those things off, keep being better, keep looking at myself. Like I was on the car on the way down here, doing my music production course. I was doing something about some health and fitness stuff. I was, you're just always just going to keep that mind ticking over.
Yeah, yeah. So was that whole transition from retiring from rugby into doing something else, was that a hard thing for you? Because I know a lot of people struggle. I mean, I spoke to Tyson Fury about it, that whole, he reached this peak of his career and he was like, right, is this it? Like, I know a lot of people struggle with that transition from retiring from something to doing.
Yeah, I've really struggled with it purely because a lot of stuff I do is it's not vocational. I didn't go into accountancy. I didn't go into being a doctor. Yes. It's all unknown. It's very much, you never know when the consistent business is going to come. I've made some stuff consistent in my life to bridge that gap. Yeah. I think emotionally, I sort of don't ever feel like I play rugby now, which is weird.
Really?
Yeah, weird. I just don't feel like it. I think because
is that another life?
Yes, it feels like it happened to somebody else.
Really?
Yeah, really weirdly. I was always very hard on myself as a player. I had a lot of self-doubt. I was always very tough on myself. Yeah. And I was always trying to be better, and that didn't stop until it stopped. And then, I regret not reveling more in what I was doing and appreciating it and realising how quickly the end would come, even though it didn't come quickly in relative terms. Yeah. But as I said, I'm not even halfway through my life, technically. So I did find it difficult. I think I was very lucky to meet Chloe and have some support. But it's what I missed.
Did you meet Chloe? Were you still playing when you
I was still playing, yeah. She really helped me and play some of my best rugby with her and the foundation, her getting the best out of me. But I
what position did she play?
Yeah,
it was totally in context.
Can't believe you didn't.
Bro, stop that.
But so I basically did find it difficult.
Was there a plan?
There was a plan, but and I'd always planned from the moment that I started playing. Mm-hmm. I'd always planned for what I was going to do out of retirement. So some players don't do anything, live their sport only. I believe that you should always have something outside of whatever it is. So if you have your family, your job, get a fucking hobby. Yeah. And if you can monetize the hobby, even better. Because if your family's not going right, your work's not going right, your hobby can always go right. Even though sometimes it can be tedious trying to upskill yourself. Yes. And I had a plan to do different things, but I wasn't sure what direction it was, and so much of it's out of my hands. Do you want to, the book writing stuff? I didn't know people were going to get an offer, but we got an offer. We made it super successful. The podcasting stuff, I wanted to do that more consistently. We managed to do that. Yeah. but it's very difficult to have a plan when so much is out of your control. So I knew what I wanted to do, and when people told me, like with my music career, you'll never really make it as a DJ, and I was like, well, okay, well, what do I need to do? Like, well, you know, you need to have a radio show to be taken seriously. I was like, I'll go and do that. Oh, well, most DJs are producing. I was like, right, I'll produce a record sign. So I've done that.
Was that always? So that was always part of the plan, the DJing.
Yeah, the DJing thing. Yeah, my dream was to do 2 or 3 speaking gigs a week, DJs on the weekend, DJs across the summer, podcast in between, and then pick up the gig with a MasterCard, the gig with EE I did on Monday, those kind of things, you know.
Yeah. So the DJing hasn't happened that much, has it? Because nobody's been open.
No, well, nothing I've done's happened apart from the podcast and the book writing. So that was very hard in the first part of the lockdown, going into retirement, traveling. You know, Chloe and I went to 8 countries or 9 countries in 5 months. I had the World Cup stuff in Japan. I was broadcasting. It was a roller coaster. I was signed to fight Bellator. That was part of a plan. Yeah. Trying to get into that, spending 6 months to fight for that, and then lockdown happened, and the fighting couldn't happen. The DJing couldn't happen. The speaking, the corporate work couldn't happen. Yes. And suddenly you're sitting at home going, what the fuck am I doing with my life? And there was a moment where I just turned to Claire. I was like, man, what am I fucking doing? Like, I'm lost. Like, I don't know. And she was like, right, well, sit down. What do you enjoy? What do you make money out of? What should you do? What money have you got coming in? And within 10 minutes, I was back on task. You know, and I was like, okay, fine. I've got this as a plan. And it recentered me. And then I went away. But every now and then you have these moments, and I need to be doing stuff. Yeah. I'm a doer with a routine. If I have listless days, that would do my head in.
What's your routine look like in the morning?
So I always get up about 7:30, 8 o'clock. Yeah. My favourite meal of the day is breakfast. So it's a big palaver for me. So I get Bertie out of his crate, sort him out, feed him so he's not mithering. I get the coffee machine out, a big coffee snob, so make all the flat white, make a Chemex or whatever it might be. Yeah. Sit down, put on. Chloe's still sometimes in bed. She often gets up slightly earlier sometimes, but recently she's not been great, so she's been in bed. So I've had a house myself. So I put the iPad on, watch a bit of Red Dwarf, watch a bit of something like Only Fools and Horses, eat my breakfast. Yeah. Start my emails, go and take the dog for a walk, batter him, because we have to batter him twice a day. I do
a lot of energy.
Yeah, oh my God. But I do this shooting dog training, fetching dummies, doing this jumping over water, take him swimming, not with like little armbands on, take him, like he goes off swimming, and then I come back, and then the rest of my day will start. I'll maybe go and train with my PT, I'll go and do some jiu-jitsu, I'll go and do something else, and then there'll be the podcasting, the recording, a day out. And then, for example, on Monday, I was at Wembley all morning till 2 o'clock doing a launch of their 5G sponsorship with Wembley, with Peter Crouch, Southgate playing fucking augmented reality foosball using the Wembley pitch and stuff like that, and doing and then the next day you're back at home doing podcasts and recording, and then today I'm in London talking to you.
It's almost like you're busier now than you were when you were playing.
Oh no, I am, and that's what I think Chloe. I spoke to an athlete. I can't remember who said he was going to retire. I'll tell you, I was talking to Dan Carter, the obviously the All Blacks winner. We're doing a thing on a podcast. He's like, I said to my wife, I gave up so much. She gave up so much for me. Now I've retired. I'll give you that time back. I was like, mate, I said the same thing to Chloe. I'm busier now than I've ever been. It's bullshit. You're never going to stop. Yeah. So you just need to make sure you do have special time.
You're doing a lot of podcasting at the minute, though, eh?
Me? Yeah. 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 Do you know what it is? What I did when I first locked down. No joke, I think I did about 60. People were just writing to me. I was doing my own one. Yeah. So I was doing 3. I was doing 3 of my own ones. I was doing Good Bad Rugby, What a Flanker podcast, which I've interviewed you for. Yeah. And I did Couples Quarantine. Yeah. Then people would write to me all the time. And normally, I've said now, no, I'm not doing them, because you could spend your entire life doing free podcasts for people and fucking do nothing else. Yes. And now everybody's got a podcast.
And it's hard because it's fun. Like, I get asked a lot, and I'm like, I'd say yes to all of them. Yeah. Because, hang on, you want me to talk about myself for an hour? Yeah. At a time? Yeah. And you'll send a call for me or get a... I'm like, fucking right, I will. And my wife's like, why are you doing this? Yeah. And it's like, you feel a bit rude saying no as well, right? Yeah. Yeah. So that, the good, the bad, and the rugby one, that blew up, didn't it?
Yeah, that has. Yeah, that started as a it didn't start as another one. I used to do another podcast, which they ended up going to administration, and then nothing to do with us. Ours was the most successful thing, about the.
Yeah.
Actually, I need to take this stuff. I'll be very careful because it's a legal case.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I've just got to rethink what I said.
Yeah.
So basically, I used to have an old podcast, and that I used to work for with the guys.
Yeah.
We stopped doing that, and then we set up Good, the Bad Rugby, and it went to like number one in the world. The trailer did, as well as other things. And
when did that launch last lockdown?
yeah, last lockdown. I don't know how many episodes we're in now. Maybe 20 or 30 only. But it's sort of. People absolutely love it. It's very different. It's about what you and I are talking to about personalities. Yeah. It's not about rugby. Yeah. It's about the people behind the games. And because I think we don't try to fuck people over, we really want to celebrate people's career. Yeah. We've had some unbelievable guests. And off the back of that, we've done work with Amazon. We've just done some advert with City Index. And we're branching out. We've launched a women's version of it called The Good, the Scaz, the Rugby. And basically... Yeah.
That's Shannon Courtney on
Yeah, she's unbelievable, Shannon Courtney, man.
Yeah. I watched that last fight.
Yeah. Mate, she's badass.
Yeah, she is.
And just interesting to hear about how,
And her story's amazing.
Yeah. She went to boxer size. Yeah. She was smoking 60 fags a day, was huge, eating pizzas and everything else like that, and basically went into a bit of fun, and someone said you should have a go, and she was like, no.
World champ.
Got hit in the face and was like, actually, I quite like
this. This is for me.
She was lovely. She was an amazing guest. So we do different ones like that. I drop in and out of that one. Yeah.
Didn't you, do you know how I know that it blew up? Because we launched this podcast with Tyson Fury and that, and you cunts were number one. I was like, right, I'm past Fern Cotton. I overtook Fern Cotton, and then I'm like, right, Wicks. I'm fucking coming for you.
Wicks,
you curly haired cunt. I'm coming for you. And then you were right up there. So yeah, do you think you'll ever take that in person?
What do you mean?
Do you think you'll ever do it instead of doing it on Zoom and shit?
Oh yeah. Oh no, we always did. So we used to do it in the studio. I only want to do it in person.
How much better is it?
We don't want to do it.
How much better is it?
Oh, we love it. We love it. But so we're actually trying to get a studio now, to build a studio, do something, because we all want to have, almost like a Soccer AM style, with sofas. Sick. We want fucking memorabilia. We want we want it to be our own. Yes. And every week we want to come in there. We want to have screens so we can do the virtual ones with the guests we couldn't get in person.
Yes.
Demonstrate stuff, do funny skits.
We've just built this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but no one wants to come to South Shields.
Oh, yeah, that is. I've got the greatest studio in the world. Where is it? South Shields?
No, it doesn't matter.
Thank you. Can I just text someone? Because I've got a
of course you
call
can.
with them. Oh, 2 seconds, sorry.
We're, instead of sending cars, we'll be sending fucking helicopters.
Yeah.
People to come there.
I know.
Yeah.
Mate, imagine that.
What time do you need to be done, man?
I don't. I've just got to. I was supposed to have a phone call with someone. I just need to make sure. I'm just going to message.
No sweat, man.
Hi, Steph. Can you just say to Craig that sorry, I'm still doing this podcast, and that I'll call him. Oh, fuck's sake. Hi, Steph. Can you just say to Craig that I'm still doing this podcast and I'm not going to make the call, but can I call him later today? I'll call him as soon as I'm finished, probably about 5 o'clock, maybe. Let me know. Thanks. Sorry about that.
Sweet, that's all right, man.
It's only because this fucking guy, he's trying to get hold of me, and I arranged a call, and I think my PA got a timing wrong. So mate, fine.
I double book all the time. It's the worst. It's the worst. It's terrible. I double booked this morning. Do you know what happened to me this morning? I went out for a walk around London because I fucking ate a big, massive donut last night. And because of this pec tear, mate, I can't train. I'm just.
You're still screwed with it?
I had the surgery, didn't I?
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah. How'd that go?
I've had it 6 weeks ago.
Oh, shit.
So,
you're rehabbing it properly and all that?
Rehabbing it, seeing a physio and that. So I'm walking around London this morning. I'm getting me fucking steps in and that. I need a shit. I've got me wallet, but just cards. You have to pay 50 pence to have a shit.
Oh, no.
I'm 35 minutes away from the hotel. It's the fastest I've ever walked in my life on the way back, yeah. And I was supposed to have a phone call. It was a sales call for a 15 grand sale. And I said, mate, I'm going to have to ring you tonight. I didn't. I wanted to tell him I'm halfway across fucking London. I need a shit.
I'd shit myself.
Oh, mate, aye. Anywho, so we're talking about podcast studio. No one wants to come to South Shields. So you guys are going to be going back to the studio thing?
Yes, we're desperate to do it. I mean, it has its limitations, but I think everybody's over Zoom. Everybody's over this stuff. Everyone's sick of watching.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, I can hear you now. I'll change the... Oh, mate,
What did you say? No, nobody know you go.
It's the worst.
No, you go. Well, no. And it's like, you're like, what? Are we going? And then you stop. No, but, and we spoke at the same time. You're like, fuck. You're like, fuck. What?
It's so bad. And just doing it in person, just a different fucking interview, isn't it?
I know.
It's just a different interview. So what's happening with the MMA?
So, it's a good question. Obviously it was kind of a mad decision to go into it anyway. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought it was a good plan. Yeah. Obviously, Bellator's an amazing organisation. I absolutely loved it. And London Shoot Fighters, the coaches there are incredible. I spent 6 months going, 6 days a week, 4 hours in the car and doing it. And Mate, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. I basically overtrained myself into oblivion as well. I got blood tests and stuff, and they were like, we on a day off, the creatine kinase, though, like muscle breakdown stuff of your body, was the same as if I played back-to-back test matches against South Africa, and that was a day
Fucking
after.
hell, really?
And I was, in the cage fighting 3 days a week, so proper sparring.
Yeah.
And then every day every day jiu-jitsu and wrestling sparring.
Wow.
And then some days were getting me back in for an evening session.
Jiu-jitsu every day is no joke.
No. And what it would be, it'd be wrestling and then go, right, 5-minute rounds, roll. And then you go, recover, drive back to Northampton, shower, to go to the recovery. Recovery day, I was at David Lloyd in that ice spot thing up to my neck. Just trying to eat. And obviously when I come out of the jungle, I'd lost 12 kgs or whatever because not eating, and then you go straight into training. When I wore a heart rate monitor for some pad work, and I burnt 1,500 calories in 30 minutes just doing the stand up, and then I had an hour and a half of wrestling.
I mean, the stand up's the easy part,
yeah,
isn't it?
I know,
the stand up's the easy part. You can cheat so much.
I know, and then so then basically I did that. And then to have it taken away, things like I've got 3 bulging discs in my back. My ankle, the arthritis in my ankle became awful.
Yeah.
So I just don't know, because I've not earned any money during that lockdown without doing stuff. I'm not sure I can commit to doing that again. Because originally the financial lure of it was, but with at the moment, I mean, unless I've shot myself in the foot with this stuff and never work again. Yeah. I mean, that is one of the things. The incentive is still there to want to fight. I think I'm going to do something. I'm going to start back up the jiu-jitsu. Yeah. I went to Shoot Fighters the other day. I might all these YouTubers are fighting in boxing. I might fucking try and fight a YouTuber or something.
Mate, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Celeb fight boxing match.
And that would be much easier than going to fight some cunt
in a cage. And the thing is, MMA, with my limitations at my kind of time, but boxing would be easier. I think my goal is, in the fighting stuff, is get a black belt in jiu-jitsu. That's what I want to do. Spend the next 15 years trying to do it. Yeah. And then I might have a couple of boxing matches. Yeah. But I'm not fighting people for unless I'm getting paid. Yeah. Just because, like, I never go charity. Yeah, great. Fuck charity.
Well, mate, that Fame MMA. You remember that Fame MMA thing?
Yeah.
The Fame Harvey fought on it.
Oh, yeah.
My mate Sam Gowland fought on
really?
it. And they're paying decent money.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. But I just think some of these, some of these fight nights and stuff like that.
So problem would be finding somebody to match your weight.
Yeah, fine.
Probably some fat YouTuber.
Hopefully. Any fat YouTubers want to get filled in, let me know. But again, I'm saying, people write to me, loads of ex-players have called me out, and people are offering me out for fight all the time. We do this for charity. I'm like, I do a lot for charity already. I'm not fighting for money. Yeah. If I'm going to fight, I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah.
And I'll
get paid.
I'll do something else for charity.
People forget that. Like you. How long you been retired for now?
2 years.
2 years.
And if you imagine, do 6 days a week. So I'm so tired and so bad, I couldn't do anything else. So I couldn't come in and do this. Yeah. Could be fucked. I'm not coming all the way down to London again just to talk to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People go, could you speak in this? Could you drive here and do this? I'm like, well, I've just, I had to go and do the some dinner, and I basically had live sparring. Turn up was like black and blue in this dinner like this, trying to talk to people, then get up and perform.
Yeah, it's a full. You think about it. That's Bellator's a professional gig.
Professional gig.
Professional means full time,
mate.
6 days.
I wasn't messing around. The guys at Shoot Fight was like, if you don't take this properly, take it seriously, you could die.
They might not put you in. Yeah. They might be like,
our coaches were like, Paul, Marius, and Alexis are the coaches at London Shoot Fights, and they are serious fucking people. They all the guys who do fight for them, are London Shoot Fighters for life. And if you embarrass that gym. Mm-hmm. And didn't it, mate? It's just not worth it. It just wouldn't worth disrespecting any of them. And especially I could have got filled in by even the cleaner in that place. So if I want to fight, I want to make sure I do it properly. But I need to make some better decisions.
What made you? Did Bellator come first, or did the MMA come first?
No, Bellator came first. I'd always done wrestling and jiu-jitsu to help me with my rugby.
Oh, had you?
I'd always done that, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'd always done I'd go and do one-on-ones with Paul Ivans at Shoot Fighters, help me with tackling. And part of the reason my tackling was so good was because of that. Breakdown work, being able to control people's bodies to get on the ball. Yeah. I love doing pads because of who doesn't like smacking pads, because you think you're like Mayweather until you realise the pads aren't hitting you back. Yeah. And everyone's like, yeah, I could fight, and then someone belts you right in the face. You're like, actually, I can't fight. So that was interesting. So I'd always done that. Yeah. But then Bellator a guy called me up, a guy called David Green, lovely guy, called me up and was like, do you want to I want to have a meeting. And I thought it was about presenting. I was like, brilliant. Because I used to present a show for BT Sport on the UFC. I did 40 shows for them, or 30 shows for them, on the beat. And it was great. It was like, off day off work, I went and did all. And again, that was while I was playing, just to upskill myself.
Yeah.
And it would just be me and a crew, and I'd present, and we'd do this show, and people absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And I thought he was asking me to do that, and then he offered me to fight, and I basically laughed. I was like, "What the fuck, mate? I'll get killed."
Yeah.
And then then they talked about the financial stuff. They talked about who I could train with, what I would do, and I was like, "Sounds like a dream. Let's do it." My wife was like, "You're a fucking idiot." Like, was like crying. It was like, "You don't, like," because I just basically said, "I want to do this." She's like, "Well, we'll talk about it." And then I'd sign the contract. And because I knew she'd say no. And she was like, when she was like nursing me when I was fucking couldn't walk properly, limping after, she was like, "You're an idiot."
Yeah.
And basically, I mean, I'm right more often than she is when we have like disagreements over stuff.
Yeah.
But more every time I don't follow her advice, I get it wrong.
Yeah, women are smart, bro.
Mate, she's very smart, way smarter than I am.
Yeah.
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 She doesn't fight with people on fucking social media for no reason, do stupid shit and get herself in trouble, then wonder why.
It's funny, because my wife doesn't do that. But sometimes I'll share a comment that someone said. In fact, there's this forum. I've mentioned it twice in the last 2 days. I shouldn't give it any airtime.
Yeah.
But there's this thing. It's an old school forum, right?
Right.
And people are under these what would I call them? Anonymous names. So it's like an old school forum, right? Remember forums, right?
Yeah,
People used to. I'm sure rugby.
Where
was fucking
losers
full of
go,
them.
where losers go to die.
Exactly.
Who
that.
the fuck's ever signed up to a forum? That's what I mean. Who's that? Okay, ask yourself this. Any of your listeners, if you've commented on this video, why? Because no one gives a fuck, right? Genuinely, why? I ain't gonna read it. You ain't gonna change me.
I'm gonna read it.
You might. Well, you might read it. 'Cause it's serial killer. I ain't gonna
I'm
read
new
it.
on YouTube.
Fine.
But so I was looking for an article that I wrote, and I found this forum, and it was basically they were just talking shit about me, about my accent. It's like I hate his accent. I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry.
And
anyway, I posted the
get
comments.
back in the
like,
fucking taxi.
So I put these comments up. My wife's like, do you know what? That's not okay. Because, and this is what I want to talk to you about. She was fuming because she's like, I'm not fuming because they did it about you, because I can deal with it. But they're doing that about other people who maybe can't deal with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's why people are killing themselves. People are genuinely
It's
killing
awful.
themselves. That's what people accuse me to make. So someone comes, this is what matters. Someone comes and goes, "You're a fucking dick, James," and I hammer them.
Yeah.
And
They're the victim.
They're the victim. Then they kill themselves, and it's like, but what about my mental health? No one's the best thing about all this stuff.
Yeah.
All the stuff all the abuse I got. No one's asked me once about my mental health.
No.
No one's ever asked, "How are you with it? How are you doing it?" I'm like, well, do you know what? I think I deal with it by going on the attack. So, but I think the forum stuff is interesting. I joke said about if you comment on this YouTube video, then what's the fucking point? Yeah. If you've gone and signed up to a newspaper, so you've registered your username and profile and gone and commented on a newspaper, you're a fucking scumbag. And if you said something bad, because there is
You're
no
looking
point.
for. I'm quite proud of this. I've never commented something negative on any.
No, have I.
Shit.
I mean, I've said funny like tongue in to mates, like taking the piss.
Yes.
But I've never gone out my way and gone, Wayne Rooney's a dickhead, and gone tweeted it.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And an extension of that, if you're even lower than that, and you've gone onto a forum, and it isn't a forum about helping people like with technological answers, like I go on forum to find, like I type into Google, "My Mac won't do this," and it'll take you to a forum, and I go on it, and people responded. I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you're into that shit, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you're a forum mugging people off, you are scum.
Yeah. This forum is
and you're
legit.
stupid.
Yeah. This forum is legit, just for slating people.
That's what I mean. Why? And you're part of it, and you think you're really cool. All the rest of us who've got a brain cell amongst us are literally laughing at you. And I promise to God this, genuinely. Anybody who signed up to that forum, signed up to a newspaper article, or commented something bad, and attacked someone, you pressed a button and they just instantly disappeared. But like Thanos, clicked your finger, the world would be, I would say, 42% better. 42% better it would be. You would instantly make it better. I promise to God, it would be. I reckon, about 1 million people would just vaporize overnight. No one would miss them. No one would care.
Imagine how much of a different world it would be.
But you know what the worst bit was? If it was announced from the government, it was like, right, by the way, this is going to happen, and you were looking across and say he disappeared, and you were like, fuck. He was on a forum, what a prick! Like we didn't know because it's anonymous. That's why I'm campaigning along with other people to get stuff to make sure you have to put your ID and stuff. And if you want to be a deviant,
video editor for a start.
Yeah. Well,
new editor.
yeah, but that's what I mean. But if you didn't know, because some people you don't know, because he's like
Sneaky,
monkeyhead 55 online going, Paul Mort's accent's fucking annoying, and he's working with you. And you ask him why is he doing it, and you find out it's because he was bullied as a kid and he didn't address it, and he can't. He's jealous of your success. If you put him into put car battery. leads to their nuts, and on each one of these person or nipples or whatever it was, don't discriminate, and you crank, and you asked them, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It would always be something like, are unhappy. Some people are just some people are just bad people.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And I think often they're just doing it to make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I kind of get it, but at the same time, I'm like, do you know, it's not okay.
I've never felt better. Like, I don't feel better. I felt kind of, if I said something witty and battered these people, I got some sort of, because I was like, I've made you look like a tit.
Yes.
That I enjoy. I've never, and insulting him was never made me feel bad. Like, fighting him was never made me feel better about myself.
Yeah.
Losing, winning stuff, I feel better.
Yeah.
But, just going on thinking to Paul Mort's act is shit, and having a chat with him, people go, yeah, it is shit. Yeah, he's shit.
There was one that said, I hate how he sniffs when he sniffs all the time when he's doing these videos. I'm like, I had a fucking cocaine.
It's about to say you've done enough bag to sink your ship, yeah.
I had a coke habit, and I broke my nose a few times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm kind of sniffs.
Not a great combination.
Nah, it's the worst
You're
combination
the
ever.
Daniela Westbrook of podcasting world.
That's exactly what I am. Danielle, if you're listening, I'd be very interested to interview you, by the way.
Yeah, I think she'd be amazing, actually.
I think she's been on that James English's podcast.
Has she?
Yeah, he gets great guests.
Really?
Been on his yet? Do you know who he is?
No.
He's had fucking... he usually gets like big gangsters on, like people that have been in jail for
really?
murder and that. And he's had Tony Bellew on, Darren Taylor on, all those.
Really?
All those. He's got.
But there's also a world that I just don't know anything about. Like, if you actually know, like, proper gangsters and criminals and real stuff going on, we live on a surface of, like, real comfort.
Yes,
mate. If you drill down some of the world that we don't see,
mate. Well, someone said, "Would you ever have any ex-criminals on?" I'm like, I don't really know any.
no.
Do you know what I mean?
But the thing is, I'm interested about the property game. Like, I know people. If you get into the property game, before long, you come into someone and it's gangsters that they own something and, like, get rid of it, or some, like, you read about stuff in these papers of these guys. That's why it's so dangerous on social media as well. And this is a piece of advice, really, and that I've got to start taking. Is I'm genuinely concerned that someone's going to come and knock on my door and fuck acid right in my face. And you think it's like beyond the realms.
Well, dude, I had a guy threatened that he was going to kill me, and then he sent me an address. It was my mum and dad's address. He said, "Who lives here?" And it wasn't. I had to get the police out and shit.
But that's what I mean. I'm genuinely concerned because there was a story about a guy. It was in Scotland.
Yeah. And
a woman in London wrote a book review of his book.
Yeah.
He drove down from Scotland and threw acid in her face on a doorstep for a fucking bad review, right? Yeah. That kid the other day, they were calling each other out on Snapchat, and some bloke walked over and just stabbed him. Oh no, walked down and just shot him the other day. And you're like, you don't think like I've got firearms license. I've got all this. I shoot. I do all this stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't occur to you to ever get a gun and go and shoot someone, or like you would think. I would think the consequences of stabbing someone or fighting someone, or whatever else. Unless I was fighting for my life, I just wouldn't. If we had a row, we'd have a tell. I wouldn't think about kicking you in the fucking head or stabbing you, mate. These people do not give a shit, and that's why you have a challenge with someone online. One of these people calls you out, they will. In these days, you will die. Yeah. That is, and the thing is, you think about
that's coming. Think that's going to happen?
What, to me?
Actually, is no. Do you think it's going to happen to someone high profile?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Well, I mean, I just think like the worst was that there was that woman the other day. I mean, she wasn't high profile, but some fucking guy got a mistaken identity and threw acid on her face. Got the wrong fucking person and maimed her for life. Yeah. And what happened is somebody. I mean, well, you get these. I was talking to. Chloe and I watched 24-Hour Party People about the Hacienda and Tony Wilson, the guy who created music in there. He used to manage the Happy Mondays, I think, and there was a stalker woman that was after him. Chloe said, and she came around and threw acid in his wife's face.
Fucking hell.
And this was years ago. He died of a brain tumor and everything else. He's an amazing kind of guy and really interesting. And he's actually Steve Coogan plays him in the movie, but apparently Alan Partridge is a little bit based on him and amongst other people.
Right.
But someone will do that. Like you hear about these, there was that celebrity where the person was living under floorboards, had got into their people's houses, and they're always trying to kill people. Celebs get it. Real famous super celebs get it. Yeah. But a mid-level Z-list operator like me, yeah, at some point someone will fucking try and come and kill me. The only thing I always say is if you come round and I see you coming and there's a bit of a mistake, I ain't going down like a fucking. I'm going to go down. I'll take something of yours, like an eye. A nose, something. I'll get anything. I will attach myself to you like a spider monkey. And if you don't blind me or get me, I'm fucking coming straight back at you. So that's my only caveat to it. It's not going to be as simple. Yeah. But I am worried.
So talk to me about then this social media thing that you're campaigning for, to have people be not anonymous anymore.
Yeah, so I've talked about it for a long period of time. Anonymity that people strive for online is brought the worst out in humans, because mad people and angry people used to be confined to villages and corners of the world. And what we do is you and I go in the pub and we go, fucking hell, Paul Mort's accent really pissed me off, and we'd have a pint. Now we go, I must tell Paul Mort, and then if you're a real loser, you go and like set up a forum and go into that, or the extension of that.
Yeah.
When you post a song online, so I'm a DJ, so every time I do a DJ set, within 10 seconds, boom, copyright, you've taken this person's music, copyright.
Yes.
Yet, online, if someone's abusing somebody, nothing happens. If you report them, they can do it. So they have an algorithm that can pick shit up, right? So I've signed a petition, and I've said after the Caroline Flack death and everything else, that you should not be able to be anonymous online. If you want to be a real sicko, go on the dark web, right? If people go about, if you're watching porn, unless it's free porn, you still have to put your bank card details in and put your fucking name in, even if you don't use your real name.
By the way, who pays for porn?
Well, it depends if it's real professional niche stuff.
I know, but who watches the whole story?
I don't watch the story. No.
Do you know do you know what I mean?
No one's ever watched the full story. Women actually apparently watch the story, because more. I've talked to my wife about it, talked to other people about it. The storyline, is if the acting's appalling or it's just like a big dick, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Then there's not
Have you
into
seen
it.
Big Sausage Pizza before?
No.
So this is a porno channel where the pizza delivery guy turns up.
Oh yeah.
And MILF answers the door, and when she opens the pizza, he's taking the
Amazing,
pizza.
amazing. So I have to Google that later. No, but so. If you want to do that stuff, it's fine. So there's no other reason. When you're banking, you have to put the real details in. Kids at the moment are going on social media and should not be on there.
Yeah.
People say, someone said to Chloe the other day, what about the young girls? Young girls should not be on social media. Young men should not be on social media. 16 is the age limit, apparently, for things like Instagram.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be on it. If you want to be on social media, you should have to put your name, your passport number in, your social security number in, something, and make it verified that it's fucking you, and then you will stop people doing stuff. And if you do it, you've got the consequences. And people who say you get hacked, we get hacked as it is anyway. Mm-hmm. You've got to do it because it has to happen. And the fact is, they can do it, and these people can do it, but they don't want to do it. And
why money?
Yes,
people will use it.
Yes, and do you know what it is? It's because all these conversations spike these arguments and battles. It spikes more views, more content, more everything. Yeah. If you remove that or reduce it, I don't think they get the value.
Yeah. I've got to upload my drive. I'm trying to get a fucking blue tick.
Oh yeah.
Fucking best-selling author, and I have to upload my driving
Have you not? Yeah, but have you not done the old verification process thing?
Where you have to upload your driving?
Yeah, and all that. Yeah.
It's not having it. I'm not famous enough.
I might be able to help you with that.
Might you?
Yeah, I've got someone who might be able to help you.
Oh,
it's all these big companies are really slow at doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. They can shut you down. Like Chloe made a comment saying, "Oh, sorry, she was being a basic bitch," and Facebook blocked her. And it's like, because you used hate speech. Like, no, I called myself a bitch. And so like, for example, some of those Instagram posts on the weekend, someone reported them and they took them all down. And they're like, your account was liable to get deleted if you keep doing this.
That happened to Darren when someone racially abused them.
Yeah.
And he put a photo of her and they got shut down for hate speech. She racially abused him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he got...
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because if you put anything, but then so that's why you just can't reply. So someone can say, I'll fucking shoot you, you're a dick. And if I go say something funny back, you're a hypocritical pig. Yeah. Boom, you're done. Yeah. And that's it. So I want people to have to stop being anonymous. I want people to... Sorry.
That's all right, man.
I don't want people to be anonymous,
Yeah, yeah. So I want to ask you one more question, right? This is something that I'm on at the minute because I'm still trying to understand it. What's your whole deal with this toxic masculinity thing? Because you've probably been accused of it before, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I'm the definition of toxic masculinity. Right? If you were going to draw a picture of someone who's toxically masculine, wouldn't it look like me? A big meat head, tattoos, outspoken, went to all boys schools from the age of 7 to 18, played a professional team sport with no women. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think with the.
What's your whole take on it then?
It's fucking crap. Like, look, I think gender roles, the concept of like blue and pink jobs, there's blue jobs and pink jobs, right? It's old. There should be no glass ceiling to what anyone can do. No one should ever tell you what you should look like or what you should do. And the expectation for example, women in particular, I think there was a big sea change where, for example, on the TV, they found out all these women were being underpaid, right? And then basically what they decided to do was that they removed a lot of men and put women in there. People were like, oh, surely it should be the best person for the job. And I was like, look, we all know it should always be the best person for the job. But for so long it's been imbalanced. If you put the people who might not be the best there at the moment, it gives young girls aspirations. And so in 10 years, you're going to get the very best because people can see where they're supposed to go. And for me, I think that's an example where I think things needed to change. Being masculine, there's nothing wrong with being a man, right? There are clear physical differences between men and women. What can be that you cannot deny science. It doesn't matter what you say, how much you say. Men are more often not stronger than women, but more, and there are things that I could do in a physical capacity that my wife could not do. It doesn't make me any better. It just means that it's common sense. There should be some stuff, and I think with masculinity, being a white middle class man, right, is pretty much down on the pecking order of anything that anyone's interested in. Yeah. Rightly so, because so much stuff has been imbalanced, and we need to change things. Yes. But also, there's nothing wrong with being me. There's nothing wrong with having an opinion and being a man and going, I like cars, I like technology, I like cigars, I like whiskey, I like doing this. Toxic masculinity, and saying, do you know what? I want to be fucking better, and I don't want, I don't like crying, but but then still being open to go, do you know what? I can change, I can develop, and saying that I've got problems. Yeah. People who go around going, you should just shut the fuck up, mate. They're idiots. That would be a definition of toxic masculinity. Someone saying that. Like, mate, just fucking talking gets you nowhere. We talked about it in your philosophy. Yeah. Talking without physical change is nothing.
Yes, without action,
Without action is absolutely nothing. And, those people are morons and they're cavemen. Yeah. And you're always going to have cavemen and misogynists who see stuff, but you've got all these people. Stop labeling everybody as that. And look, I don't give a fuck what people say. I'm a man. I'm proud of a man. I accept every race, colour, creed. I fucking don't give a shit about what gender you are. I certainly don't care about what sexuality you are. If you're a good person, you're a good person. If you're a dickhead, it doesn't matter where you come from, what you do, what you look like, what your orientation is. Yeah. And that's all that matters.
And I think that for you, mate, do you know why I'm not buying that toxic masculinity thing for you? Because you accept all of you. Do you know what I mean? You accept all of that shit that you, fucked up. Sometimes do this.
Listen, look, my social references, my frame of references are skewed because for example, with women, my only experience of women was as a attractive female, as a sexual object. I didn't have female friends. I didn't go to university. Yes. So you have to unlearn a lot of those things. If you have bad gender roles in your life, and you see people, and you think these expectations, you've got to learn. But everybody has different experiences, and you've got to understand that, like with all the stuff where we're trying to bombard and abuse everything that happened in the past, you can't bring today's standards onto people because what was going back then was the norm. Yeah. Whether it was fucking right or wrong is another moralistic discussion. Yeah. But you can only do stuff moving forward. And if I've only ever seen, men talk down to women, smacking them on the bum and all this kind of stuff, and doing all the weird shit that these weird men think's acceptable, and I start doing it, well, I've either got to fucking learn pretty quickly that isn't correct or not. And I'm all about self-development. I'm always open to learn. And I can tell you this, my life as a man is easier than a woman's purely because everyone I've interviewed for the podcast and talked to women is that I've never walked into a room and gone, I want to be sexy but and serious, but not too serious and not too sexy because I don't want to be taken not seriously. And I don't want to be seen as an object. Yes. I've never had someone in a room as like four men and one woman, and every time the woman speaks, we pretend she didn't say anything or like not look her in the eye. Yeah. I've fucking seen it firsthand with me and wife. So we have a long way to go. Yeah. And there are men who are so fucking misogynistic or toxic that are there, but it's not me, and I don't care what you say. I'm not me turning around and being, I'm a man. This is what I believe in. Yeah. This is what I think, and sharing an opinion. I don't think it is toxic, and anyone can say anything. Everyone wants to label everyone with a fucking ism, a something. Being a man's a good thing. Yeah. Being a good man is a good thing. Supporting your wife is a good thing. They talk about all the royal family stuff outside the way. Prince Philip, the original G. They talk about men being intimidated by their wife's role. His wife was the queen, right? And he sat and did what he was supposed to do. And everyone has mistakes. There's no such thing as if you put people on the pedestal, you're going to fail. But I looked at him, and it made me reevaluate myself, going, actually, do you know what? What a guy, just sitting there, no nonsense. No one changed him. And he was the ultimate guy in the public eye that you could have got slated. And he didn't get changed. Yes, people always say everything else about other members of his family, whatever. That's not what I'm here to talk about. Yeah. And I think being a man is a good thing if you're a good man. And we need good, powerful men, in this world.
I want to finish on this because it's a powerful point. In your opinion, how do we get better at being good men?
We have to fucking listen. We have to be prepared to understand that we don't always get it right. That we need to, I think to be better, you have to stop worrying about what everyone else is doing and worry about yourself. Yes. You have to look at yourself and go, right, could I be better? And you have to be prepared to get feedback. And you can't just, I'll give you an example, like this football saga thing, right? Someone defined it really well, and they said this elite league thing they wanted to set up was like they'd all planned a lads trip and forgotten to tell their missuses, and when their missus found out, everyone fucking panicked and stopped it. Yeah. You've got to stop talking to lads, I've got lads' opinion. You've got to be able to talk to people and see that we might not have it right, that your perspective might not be right, and we can get better. And if we're better and we're supportive and we stop believing old gender roles and stop being intimidated by successful women. I want my wife to be more successful than me. I want to push her. It doesn't make me any less of a person. Yeah. And if you stop putting all your shit onto other people and start working yourself, going, could I be better? You stop worrying about that and you start getting better and start saying, your interactions with people, am I like that? And if someone says to you something shit, if 10 people are saying the same thing, then it's true. If one person online says you're fat, then you're like, no, can ignore that. If 50 people are going, fuck me, you're overweight, you're probably overweight. If they go, you're lazy and you're always late, if your whole team says you're doing it, you're late. And you just got to be, that's how simple it has to be.
Yeah. I love it. We didn't even get to talk about the jungle.
No, we didn't. Yeah, it's not a lot to talk about there on that, to be honest with you. I came out I went in, first 2 weeks, it was apparently on to win it. Then I became public enemy number one. And then
what did you do to be public enemy number one?
I said that women should go first. And I said that women should go first, not fucking talking about stuff. Yeah. And apparently chivalry is not telling women where to go, it's letting them decide. And then they all fucking messing around, guessing some answer, trying to make it so complicated when there's an A or B with no actual fact about it. And I just said, fucking hell, can everyone just shut up and just vote? And then they voted, and there's 10 people in camp. 5 people vote for A, 10 people vote for B. That's 15 people. You got it wrong. Do it again. 3 times they fucked it up. And I was like, there's fucking 10 of you. Fucking choose. Yeah. And I walked off saying that I can't be involved in this circus of stupidity. Yeah. I'm too intelligent for it. And everyone, James Haskell says he's clever, and everyone. I was like, no, I'm too intelligent to debate an undebatable question. Yeah. And then the public are like, he's a fucking wife beater, he's abuser, he's shouting at women. And then when I left the camp, all my campmates' reactions, because the papers went for me, the editors on the show tried to fuck me over, and then every campmate, apart from one, cried, and every campmate said, I can't believe you've taken James, the best thing about it ever. The words they said were, I cried when I saw it. That's the last time I fucking got about. I cried like a baby because it was just vindication. Yeah. And Ant and Deck were like, we've never seen a reaction to camp, someone leaving camp as that. Yeah. Caitlin Jenner was like, you've fucking ripped the heart out, telling them off. And because of that, I then came back out of it, and everyone was like, oh, he wasn't a dickhead. And the papers were like, viewers of I'm A Celeb.
So you're glad you did it?
Oh, I'm glad I did it. Well, I'm glad I did it because it put me into a different position publicly. Yep. The fans of the show are unbelievable. They're way nicer than sports fans. Everyone's really complimentary, unless something like this weekend happened, and then people go, I didn't fucking like him when I'm a celeb. He was a bully on that. That's what they say. But most people are wonderful. Yeah. And it could have ended my career before it even started, but actually subsequently it helped me, but didn't change my life in any way because I had a plan, but because I haven't got a demographic. So Jacqueline Josser, kind of very, very like beautiful woman, very kind of empowered with female, kind of got a clothing range, soap star, Roman Kemp music, all the teenage girls love him. He had all these avenues. There isn't much room for a washed-up cage-fighting rugby player, outspoken meathead. Like, who's going to get behind me? Like Jeremy Clarkson fans. Like, it's fucking. It's not like it's not a great market. And it didn't make me any more money. Hasn't made me any more famous. Well, put me in to a different level. But that was 2 years ago now, so no one gives a shit.
Yeah, mate. James Haskell.
Cheers, brother.
Thank you very much. Anytime, that was amazing. Thank you, mate. Class.
Did you enjoy that?
We're just getting started.
Yeah, I know.